Hi, my name is Juliana Paracencio. I'm from Brazil. I work in Dubai at Ogilvy. So I wrote some tips that it was like a mixture of experience that I had and friends of mine that experienced that, and I thought how much this would help if people knew. Probably you already know everything, but it's always good to refresh your minds in case you don't. So, first thing, when people start in advertising as a creative, I graduated in communication and I wanted to be a creative all the time, and I prepared my CV and then I thought, what's next? What I realized was, okay, now I can just throw my resume in the trash bin. Why? Because I realized that it doesn't matter which university you did, if you did Miami Ed School, or if you did like the best university ever, it doesn't matter. A lot of people are in advertising and they never studied anything, to be honest. They were just born creatives. It's just like comedians, kind of. So you don't do like a course to be a comedian. I just realized that everything that I studied was just like for nothing, basically. So what I realized when I started was, tip number 1, all you need to get your first job in advertising is to have 5 great ideas in your book. Why? Because those 5 ideas just prove that you can do the job, and this is all you can do. And you don't even need craft. If the idea is there, this is what matters. Second thing I realized was, don't look for a potential agency, but for a potential boss. Why? Everybody nowadays wants to work at Droga 5, Wyden Kennedy. Great, but who is going to be your direct boss? Is the person, have you researched his book? Do you trust the person? Well, probably if they are in a good agency, they are good, but first of all, be curious and Google your future's boss portfolio and ask yourself, do I like his work? Do I like her work? Why? Because in the beginning of your career, you are probably going to present a lot of crap ideas, to be honest, because you are starting. And so a lot of your ideas will be rejected. But the feeling that you have to have when you get feedback is like, can I trust this person? I mean, am I learning something? Because otherwise it's just like, what am I doing here? You know, you really need to admire the person that is your boss. This is what I realized. So I went to some agencies that I wasn't very happy with the feedback I had, and then I just realized it doesn't matter the agency you are. If you admire the person that is your boss, this is what matters. You learn so much. Why? Because nothing can be more frustrating than reporting to someone you don't trust. That's the truth. So always Google everything. Number 3, that's very interesting. Be a nerd, love advertising. So when I started working with 3 interns just like me, and the 3 of them, they were copywriters. I was an art director. And the 3 of them, they were doing something crazy, but that taught me a lot. So they were opening all the Cannes winners, like gold, silver, bronze, even some short lists, and they were writing. They opened like a doc file, and every winner, they were just writing like, what's the tagline of this idea and the brand? Tagline, brand, Why does this help? Because you start learning what's the message, why does it win, and you realize, most importantly, there is a fucking awesome insight behind that idea. So yesterday we were talking about sneakers. You are not you when you're hungry. Man, that's so true. I mean, our teacher at school, when they are in a bad mood, you think, fuck, they are probably hungry or something. This kind of observation, or Harvey Nichols, I spent it on myself. Every Christmas I think, man, it's so much money for gifts that I even don't know if my friends like those gifts that I give them. I wish I could just spend on myself. So every winner has a very good and true insight behind the idea. It's always, if you notice, it's always an insight that you say, damn, this is so true, how I didn't see this before. So being a nerd in advertising is like looking and watching at all the winners and trying to understand, why do they win? What's the message? And why is so true? So study the winners. So download all the winners. One by one. That helps, believe me. Fourth tip is open your ears, because a lot of great ideas just come from silly things that people tell you every day. That friend that always makes jokes, listen more to him, because every joke has a little bit of truth in it. So for that, these two are my parents. And every time I Skype with them, it's like 1 hour Skype. It's like, so tiring. But I love them, obviously. So since I left Brazil, which was like 10 years ago, I lived in Germany for 7 years, and now I'm in Dubai for almost 3 years. Every time my parents, they have like 3 dogs and 2 cats. And every time I Skype with them, there is like a pet around. And they always tell me, well, the reason why we don't miss you much, or your sister or your brother, is because our pets became our kids. And yeah, I'm not going to visit you because, my kids, my new kids, they will miss me, and, I feel so bad to leave them. And I started considering them as my brothers and sisters because, pets, they just become part of our families. So this is something they always told me, and then I always thought, okay, again, fine. Then few years later, in Cannes, this campaign appears. And it's just like, damn, it's what my parents tell me. Since I left Brazil, how come I never thought my mom was giving me a gold lion and I never took it? And a guy in Australia, or New Zealand, I don't remember, he had this brilliant idea that won, I don't know, 4 gold lions this year? I don't remember. And I was just fucking jealous because I was like, I should listen more to things around me. So ideas, they are everywhere. People tell you ideas every day and you don't notice. It's just a matter of trying to open your ears and listening to them. Because everything, even if it's a joke, there is a true insight in it. Yeah. So, number 5, make a good impression when you have your first job. Don't be a pain in the ass. Don't be that guy, because people talk and, we know each other. Like, we know a lot of people, especially Brazilians. We are everywhere, and I have a lot of Russian friends as well, so we all know each other, and it's just about finding mutual friends on Facebook. And if you are a pain in the ass, we will hear that you are a pain in the ass, and nobody wants to work with someone who is a pain in the ass. So, how not to be a pain in the ass? Because I once was a pain in the ass, I think. But be positive, because nobody likes negative people anyway. Like, we all have that friend that keeps calling us just to complain, and we look at our phones and it's like, no, not again. Don't be that person, because we have to live with you the whole day, and if we have the chance of getting rid of someone who is negative, we'll just do it. Oops. Be humble, because, well, you are just starting, and in this case I would say try to listen more than to talk, because it's try to observe everything that you listen, that people tell you, and don't behave as if you knew everything, because if you do that, nobody will think that they have to teach you. And most important is be hardworking, because it's not just about talent. It's like there is a lot of people who are super talented, but either they don't like what they do, so it's like a waste being talented. If you are hardworking, you will get there and people will like you. And if you have a boss and he's changing agencies, he will call you because he knows he can count on you. So it's always good to be the hardworking, no matter what. Because if you don't do the work, someone will. And it can be a friend, like, who just started with you. Yeah, and he will probably take your job if you don't do the work. And, well, what I noticed when I moved to Germany and when I moved to Dubai was that feeling uncomfortable makes you more creative, because when you are in a country that you never worked before, it's just an example of being uncomfortable. You try to adapt, you try to learn new things, you try a lot of new ways, and you start opening your mind, and that gives you more ideas. So I just noticed that how much my mind opened since I am abroad. You probably have the same feeling if you moved abroad and you go back to your town. You start realizing, wow, my friends, they just stayed the same, and I feel like a fish outside the aquarium. It's like, it really makes you more creative. So it's either try to move abroad, because it's such a great experience and you also face new problems of that country, those clients and everything. Or try something new, even in your routine, like start doing stuff that you never did before, like new sports, or try a new language that you never thought you would like to learn, but do something different, because this opens your mind a lot. And, well, I love memes, and I think everybody does. It's just that no one really maybe assume, but I love memes. Why? Because it's like a very small space where you have to put an idea there. You have to write something that makes people laugh, or that is such a true insight that you're like, ha. So writing memes really helps you having ideas and looking at memes as well, because it's like you always find new insights or things you never thought someone would write. For example, what if soy milk is just regular milk? Introducing himself in Spanish. It's like, I don't know, that's funny. That could be an ad. If you have a milk brand, why not? I don't know, but this is just so funny, right? At least I think it is. Or if you work in health, for example, fart. I don't think you can read this. Can you? No. So fart in the cheese aisle in the supermarket. Couple comes up and start talking about how good the cheese there smells. So it's like the perfect place to fart is like in the cheese area of a supermarket. It's like, we all know that cheese stinks, right? So it's like, fuck, how come someone came up with this? It's like, or my grandfather, for example, he adopted a dog and he couldn't even take care of himself, and he was in that state that, you know, old people, they fart a lot. And we thought he just adopted a dog to blame the dog. And this is something we all say and we laugh about it, but it could be an idea, you know, because we all have that old grandpa. We all have parents who love pets. We all fart. We all love cheese. So why not? This is like insights that are in the air. It's just about grabbing it. Or it's like we all suffer, like you're hungry, but you already brushed your teeth. It's like, how painful. I know I have to brush my teeth, but it's like I struggle. It's like first world problems. A lot of ideas came from first world problems. So it's like memes are awesome because you have to put an idea there, and the idea has to speak from itself. Like, it's not like 5 slides explaining an idea. It's like one square where you put a picture, a line, and people just laugh or relate to it. So for me, it's like memes are little print ads. It's like little insights, small square that could win in Cannes because everybody relates to it. So really, really open your eyes, your ears, observe, because everything around us could be an idea. Well, first of all, it's like when you get a job and you are starting, obviously you are not getting a Super Bowl commercial brief, right? So you probably will get like greeting cards, job, or calendar, or I don't know, but you always start small. But never, never underestimate those jobs, because first, if you don't prove that you can be creative in such a small jobs, how can you prove you're going to be good at writing a TV script, So in Brazil, when you start, it's really lame, like the jobs we get, like at news is like very, very small ad spaces in newspapers. That is like, God. But there is a subcategory, a category in Cannes or DNAD for everything you do, even like business cards, even greeting cards. Like if you see the winners at DNAD in greeting cards, you will see a lot of cool ideas. And then you think, fuck, I had that briefing. Why I didn't win a pencil with that briefing? So really, you can win, I believe. Obviously, you have to choose your battles. Sometimes either the client is really not open for creative work, but never stop trying, because if you always try, you will get an award, I'm pretty sure. And since in the beginning, it's very likely that you'll get very small jobs, try to do the most of it. At Ogilvy, a lot of people are like, especially the junior teams, oh, print. Who wants to win an award in print nowadays? I want to win with social, with digital. Yeah, everybody wants that. But if you cannot put an idea in one paper and people don't understand that idea, it's like, no, your ad is crap, I'm sorry. So print, in my opinion, it might sound old school, but it can always start through a print, because it's just like the meme, you know, you write a funny idea, like the cheese thing in the supermarket, that could be a print because it's a headline, that could be a funny TVC. If you find a really cool insight, you can do everything with it. So it's about finding the insight. That's the most difficult part. Yeah, so especially when you are starting, right? So no budget, try radio and print. Why? Radio, I love radio. I'm not a copywriter, but I fucking love radio. Why? It's one of the medias where you don't rely in production to win an award. It's just like you have to be brilliant in your script, in the final message that you give. And it's just about the idea. I mean, obviously you have to hire a speaker, but the amount that you spend on this is so low that it's like a competition. Who is the smartest ass who can write an awesome radio script? This is damn difficult, because it's nothing about Twitter or Instagram. Like, no, you have to prove you are good. Just writing a script that someone's going to read or interpret. So it's very, very challenging, and I think like all the radio winners deserve like a slow clap, like, because it's fucking hard. Also, well, print. People say, oh, print, oh my God, in Cannes is all about craft. Yes, every time I go to Cannes, I see it's horrible. So you see like 8 Brazilians art directors looking at the ad, and they are like, but this shadow here is not in place. So this, no, it cannot be a gold, because, you know, the shadow, the color. People really, really look into details in Cannes, and craft is important. But when you have an amazing idea, nothing beats an amazing idea. So I will show you a campaign that it's really old. It's like from 2009, from WWF. That I'm so jealous about it, because I could have done like using paintbrush. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't even exist, paintbrush, anymore. But you have like, it's a very old game, right? And you have, it's so simple, right? Do I have to explain this ad? No, right? No? No. this ad is like, people could have done this in 20 minutes, the execution. Like, you have 20 minutes to submitting code. Go. It's so brilliant, right? And the line, it's your turn. This campaign is like, fuck, yeah. So, all I'm saying is like, there is no excuse to say, oh, I cannot have a good idea. Oh, I cannot start in advertising with a good idea. No, an intern could start in an agency just doing this ad, drawing in a paper. So there is no excuse, really. And, well, tip number 10 is like, have fun because, well, this is my last tip, actually. Because in my opinion, advertising is fascinating and we have so much fun with it because it's a competition of who tells a better joke, who finds a great insight that it's so true and it touches you. So it's like, it's a competition who is the smartest ass, who cracked that job in a brilliant way that everybody was jealous about. Because in the end, when you have an ad, you say, I want people to look at it and think, fuck, that's so true, why I never thought about this, right? So, that's it. Those are my tips, and obviously, I mean, do you have any questions? Is there, yeah?
Так, раз, два.
When you're judging, what do you look for in work? What type of work do you find the most exciting?
Well, first of all, I want to have fun with it. So when I look at the short list, I already know who. It's about leaving the room and thinking, which idea do I remember from there? Like, which one I was like, fuck, jealous about it. So I always try to find the ideas that I wish I could have done them. So for me, those are the ones that deserve an award. And why? Because they have such a good insight that nobody can skip that ad, you know? Everybody relates to it. Any more questions? Or who is starting here? Do you have a question? Ah, okay.
Вот вы говорите, преодолевайте дискомфорт, да? Вот. Как можно, ну, то есть стартовать, что ли, как можно его преодолеть, если, ну, все равно это как бы какой-то бюджет, это какая-то, может быть, инициатива компании должна быть, или, ну, вот какие вспомогательные... В общем, как правильно перейти с дискомфорта на комфорт?
With clients, you mean? Like with clients or with creatives? Or in general?
В целом.
In general. Okay, so I have two stories to tell that just came to my mind. I recently started working with health clients, with Ogilvy Healthcare, and the way what I realized was that those guys, they are just, well, imagine like a marketing guy who works at Pfizer. It's like such a boring job that he has, and he has seen so much boring ads presented through other agencies. So with clients, I try to be very honest and make them uncomfortable in a way that is like, do you think your consumer is stupid or dumb? He's just like a normal human being that has feelings and is probably thinking the same as you. So with health, for example, what I told the marketing guy at Pfizer was like, we had to present a campaign for doctors, and he was expecting the common boring campaign with stock pictures. And I did a whole presentation about Star Wars and stuff, saying, did you know that a lot of doctors are big fans of Star Wars? Why? Because they go to the movies. Because you think they just spend time in the hospital or in clinics. No, you have to touch them in the most weird way that they are not expecting to receive a message from your product. So with health clients, it's really cool because first, they are not spoiled with good ideas because they are just used to the common boring things. And putting the clients in a weird situation where I asked, do you think that the doctors, they are robots? Like, just because they studied for 6 years in our universities, like they are the ones that deserve to have fun after studying so much and seeing so much blood, you know? So it's like trying to put people in a weird situation makes them uncomfortable. And once I was interviewing a guy from Brazil on Skype, and he asked me, is it true that in Dubai you cannot smoke weed? He asked me, I was interviewing him. I was like, yeah, I'm sorry. But since you asked me this, are you gay? And he's like, why are you asking me if I'm gay? Well, you asked me a weird question, so it's like, you put me in an uncomfortable place. And at that time, my partner was gay, and he was like, why are you asking me? Because in Dubai, you know, you cannot be gay, but there are a lot of gays there. Anyway, so I was like, no, it's because my partner, he's gay, and he's single. And, you know, he's looking for company. So it's like, he put me in a weird situation. I was like, why not? I mean, if you come, you are going to work with me anyway, so you better know me now, and, you know, let's just make each other uncomfortable and see what happens. Because I think being uncomfortable is the best, because then you really get to know people, your clients, people you're interviewing, people you're going to work with. And if it's weird, really, really weird to be uncomfortable there, so, you know, it's not gonna work. Because you have to, man, we spend so many hours in the office. You need to have fun and be uncomfortable and laugh and, you know. So, yeah, I think those situations, I put them in a weird situation, and it worked out. The guy really wanted to come. He didn't come because of other reasons, but we became friends after this interview, so that's a good sign. And the client, the Pfizer client, is still our client, so it worked out. Yes. Any other? Did I answer your question? Yeah. Okay.
First of all, thank you. And did you have the time in your life, like, then you thought, I just want to give up, or like crisis in your career, and what did you do if you had that?
Yes. Yes, because I am a human being, and I think if people tell you that never happened, they are lying. Yes, when I started in Brazil, in Brazil, most of the creatives, they are men, and 10 years ago or 11 years ago, I was the only woman in the creative department, and imagine the jokes and stuff. And I thought, is this really for me, or do I have to become one of them? It's like I had this situation, but then I just thought, fuck it. I'm going to make them, they make me uncomfortable, I will make them uncomfortable. It's about being uncomfortable again. When I left the agency to go to Germany, I spent, I think, 3 years at Leo Burnett in Brazil. And when I arrived, I was kind of intimidated because I was like, little girl, why she's not a project manager? Why is she a creative? All those bad jokes. And then in the end, I left the office and people were saying, not sure if I should say that, but I'm afraid of sitting on Juliana's lap because she might have a dick. Because but what I'm saying is, at that time I thought of giving up because in Brazil it's a very macho career until now for creatives, and either you get into the spirit and you play around just like them, or it's not for you. So this is one. And second time, I was a little bit, what should I do? When I was in Germany, I worked for 2 years in Berlin. Best city on earth. I really recommend you guys go there if you haven't been there. But it was like 2 great years in my life, my personal life, but career-wise was like terrible. And then I thought, why? Like, I thought I was in the perfect city, and there are so many cool ads coming from other agencies from Berlin. Am I doing something wrong? No, I just, that was the time when I thought, I don't really like my boss now. I really need to change to have a boss who I really admire. And then that was when I went to Jon von Matt in Hamburg, because I found out, okay, I like her, my previous boss. I like her sense of humor. I really like her portfolio. I want to leave this agency with a portfolio as good as hers. And then I realized that what I was doing wrong, I was in an agency, I didn't like much my boss, his taste, let's say, so I was feeling, do I just have shitty ideas? What the fuck, And when I moved to Hamburg, I thought, fuck, she has good ideas and she thinks my ideas are good, so I'm back on track. So you're like, whoa. So you just have to realize, why is it not working? At that time, I had a partner, a copywriter. He gave up because in his case, he was very competitive, but he was like, if I don't win a Lion in my first year of career, I'm out. And then he was out because he wasn't like very persistent. Well, sometimes it can happen. Sometimes you'll get a Lion 7 years later. Like, it happened to me. Like, I was always like trying hard. And nowadays I speak to this friend, my previous copywriter is like, fuck, great that you stayed and you were really patient trying. But yeah, because he gave up, I thought, should I give up too? But no, I stayed. So you have to be persistent as well. Find out why it's not working, and you have to observe a lot. Advertising for me is about observing a lot what's happening, what is people talking about. Then great ideas come either for your life or for your ads.